Good morning, everybody. All of our South Florida counties are united here today with Governor Ron DeSantis to share some important news about our continuing effort to stop the spread of COVID-19 and save lives. I want to welcome Governor DeSantis. Also want to congratulate him on the birth of his daughter. Congratulations, Governor. Back to Miami-Dade County and our Lieutenant Governor, Jeanette Nunez. The mayors here joining me today are from Broward, Palm Beach, and Monroe counties, and we all value your support and partnership and your leadership. So please, Governor, we want to hear from you.
Great.
And now, Governor Ron DeSantis.
Great, thank you. Well, let me thank Mayor for all your hard work, even when you were in self-isolation, just still working 24/7. It's been a great partnership to work with Miami-Dade as well as Broward and Palm Beach and Monroe counties. And today, we have all four counties united in a common purpose. People from South Florida know it's not always easy to do, but we're all here today to say that we want to win the fight against COVID-19. And so what I'm going to be doing is signing an executive order that codifies a common set of rules regarding safer at home for Southeast Florida. This will build off what Mayor Jimenez has already done and gets all four counties operating under the same sheet of music. And the reason why this is important is because we have 60% of the cases in the state of Florida are in Southeast Florida. You have a community here that is our most densely populated part of the state. You have a community here at Miami International that receives a lot of international travel, certainly has over the last few months. Then you have a lot of interaction between South Florida and New York City. And so that has provided more seeds to have the virus in Southeast Florida. And so with this order and what these counties have already done, we're going guns blazing, doing all that we can to be able to slow the spread of COVID-19. And I will say, I think a lot of the actions that you've seen with the mayor and with Broward particularly, I think some of these have been effective, and I think you'll see that as we get going over the next couple of days and weeks. So I want to thank all of them for their leadership. Thanks for the great collaboration that they've had with the state of Florida. And I also want to thank the federal government for supporting some of the initiatives that we have going on down here. One of the things I also want to announce today is, there's a lot of concern about manpower, whether it's law enforcement, whether it's healthcare personnel. You could have somebody that gets exposed to the virus and they have to self-isolate, their contacts have to self-isolate. That creates a potential manpower issue. So I'm also going to sign an executive order today to allow recently retired law enforcement and healthcare personnel to immediately return to the workforce to join the fight against COVID-19. Current law in Florida prohibits personnel that retire from the state workforce from returning to work for 6 months from the date of retirement. I will suspend that prohibition. We need to have folks who are willing to come return to service. Also, just want to mention we have procured for the state of Florida from Teva Pharmaceuticals the hydroxychloroquine, which has been used successfully, anecdotally, in different parts of the world, really, but here in the United States. Just yesterday, the FDA approved its use under the right circumstances for COVID-19 patients. So that's already been distributed to hospitals in South Florida. We want the physicians to be able to have the opportunity to do that if a patient comes in as an infected, and that can make a difference. We've also deployed the first rapid COVID-19 test to South Florida. This is a 45-minute rapid test. We've sent 1,750 to Memorial Healthcare System in Broward. We've also sent 500 to Northern Florida. And we hope to have very soon an agreement to bring in the 5-minute test developed by Abbott Laboratories. We've asked for a lot of those tests, and as soon as we get them, we will deploy those strategically in the fight against COVID-19. If you look at Florida's numbers, we've seen a huge increase in testing over the last 3 weeks. We're going to continue doing that. We think it's very, very important. We've worked on this Hard Rock site here in Miami-Dade. We did a site, the National Guard, in conjunction with Memorial Healthcare in Broward. We're going to now, tomorrow, open up a site with the National Guard and Palm Beach County, in Palm Beach County. Palm Beach County is a distant third in infections behind Miami and Broward, but they've not had the same level of testing. So we think it's really important to flood the zone in Palm Beach with testing. And so this site, I think, will be able to be a drive-through site where you're going to be able to get a lot of the residents be able to go through in a timely manner. Once we get the rapid test, people will be able to get results sooner. Unfortunately, we still have to send these swabs to the laboratory, but we have definitely done a lot in terms of the testing. And then just updates on with the travel into Florida, the CMS, or excuse me, CDC issued travel advisory for the New York City area about traveling to other parts of the country. You know, that was something we were seeing last week after the stay in place was issued by the governor there. And so we have a system where people are coming in, they're screened, information is taken, they provide the residents where they'll be isolating for 14 days. We think that that helps protect Florida residents. Also doing it on I-10 coming into the Florida Panhandle for a potential New Orleans exodus, and 95 south from Georgia into the state of Florida. Another issue that we're monitoring is the cruise ship coming through the Panama Canal. You know, we think it's a mistake to be putting people into southern Florida right now, given what we're dealing with. So we would like to have medical personnel simply dispatched to that ship, and the cruise lines can hopefully arrange for that, tend to folks who may need medical attention. You know, but I think a lot of these are foreign nationals, and we want to make sure we have the beds available for the folks here in southern Florida. So right now, and we're always monitoring the hospital space, because remember, flattening the curve is making sure that you're spreading this out enough so that the hospital system can cope with it. We have about 30% of the beds in the state of Florida are available right now, and a higher percentage in both Broward and Miami-Dade. You know, we have 32.5% in Miami. The mayor tells me he thinks it's even higher than that in terms of available beds, and so that's a good thing. But then we've also staged field hospitals in Broward and Miami-Dade. I've identified other facilities that could be used. We have additional beds if need be. And then the Army Corps of Engineers will also help us if it comes to that. But I would just say the safer at home is the right move for southeast Florida. This is the time to do the right thing. Listen to all your local officials. We do this until the middle of May, and then we'll see where we're at. But I think a lot of the stuff that's been done has been helpful. I think this will continue to be helpful, and hopefully once we get this thing under control, then we can go back and start enjoying life the way we used to. So I want to thank Monroe County, I want to thank Miami-Dade County, I want to thank Broward, and I want to thank Palm Beach. We're all in this together, and let's continue onward. So safer at home, and I give to you our Lieutenant Governor to say a few words.
Good morning. Thank you, Governor, for your leadership in these very trying times. I'm going to share a few words in Spanish to communicate what the Governor has just said. Hoy el gobernador firmará una orden ejecutiva que refleja el acuerdo entre cada uno de los 4 condados representados aquí hoy día, el condado Monroe, el condado Miami-Dade, el condado Broward y el condado Palm Beach, para adoptar el mismo enfoque en referencia a todas las medidas que se están tomando de una manera uniforme. La orden requerirá que los residentes de los condados de Monroe, Miami-Dade, Broward y Palm Beach cumplan con esas mismas directivas con respecto a los negocios esenciales y no esenciales, según lo dispuesto en las órdenes ejecutivas firmadas por el alcalde Jiménez a partir del 19 de marzo. También el gobernador está ejecutando una orden ejecutiva hoy que lo que va a poder permitir que los policías y el personal de salud recientemente retirados pueden regresar inmediatamente a la fuerza laboral para unirse a esta lucha contra el COVID-19. Nuestras leyes estatales actualmente prohíben que el personal que se ha retirado de la fuerza laboral estatal vuelven a trabajar para el Estado durante 6 meses a partir de la fecha de jubilación. Y por eso esta orden suspenderá esa prohibición. Como oímos, el gobernador ha estado trabajando arduamente para adquirir no solo medicamentos que se han tratado pero también pruebas rápidas para poder en esta lucha contra el COVID-19. Estamos trabajando muy acerca con estos condados que sabemos que tienen la mayoría de los casos a nivel estatal y por eso le agradecemos su presencia aquí hoy y sabemos que juntos vamos a poder seguir trabajando y venceremos. Le agradecemos toda su presencia and with that I will turn it over to my hometown mayor, Mayor Carlos Jimenez.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. It's always great to have you back home in Miami-Dade County. And thank you, Governor DeSantis, for your leadership. The order you announced today establishes a level of uniformity for all of South Florida so that our residents can clearly understand that we can get back to normal quicker if we all join in this together. I want to thank Broward County Mayor Dale Holness, Palm Beach County Mayor David Kerner, and Monroe County Mayor Heather Carruthers for joining us today. And I also want to thank Miami Gardens Mayor Oliver Gilbert for all his support. We're actually in the city of Miami Gardens here with this testing site that's located here at the Hard Rock Stadium. And I've been working with the county administrators of Broward and Monroe and Palm Beach to share strategies about how to best crush the wave of COVID-19 cases that we're experiencing. It's clear that this virus has been spreading here in South Florida. It's also clear that when we're together, we're stronger. This is a prolonged health crisis, and to eradicate this virus will take many weeks, maybe even months. That's why the leaders of our 4 great South Florida counties agree that the key message to our residents that we must take personal responsibility and that they should stay at home as much as possible. We must act like we're all carrying the virus and stay safer at home. That's the key message. Safer at home, social distancing. Safer at home. Some people have also asked us why our 4 counties are not in full emergency activation, which is what would happen in a hurricane when high winds and flooding from torrential rain are expected. This is a health emergency, though, and we cannot fully shut down for a month or two. Imagine having to provide food, medicine, other essential services for weeks on end to serve 7+ million residents. It's over a third of Florida's entire population. Our 4 counties also have looked at particular situations and found that there's no need to have a countywide curfew at this time. Some cities in Miami-Dade have imposed curfews, particularly in high-density tourist areas, but in most of our 4 counties, a curfew is not necessary. Miami-Dade County streets are quiet, and we should not overburden our fine men and women of the police force when there's no need for a curfew. And thank you, Governor DeSantis, for that order today that allows our recently retired police, fire, emergency personnel to come back and serve. So through collaboration and partnership, Miami-Dade, Broward, Palm Beach, and Monroe counties have agreed to stand united so that our residents understand exactly what they must do and why it's imperative. And again, I also thank the governor for issuing the order